d'accueillir ici tous les ministres du G7.
And did you receive any indication that Canada could get concessions at any point on tariffs?
Okay, so a couple of things. We had a very long conversation, the Secretary and I wanted to be able to have a frank conversation with him. Of course, Canada's sovereignty is not up for debate, and we had a long conversation on tariffs and trade. The approach when it comes to a relationship with the U.S., and through my conversation with the Secretary, was we will put maximum pressure on the Americans. And meanwhile, we'll work on finding off-ramps. Because we know ultimately at the end of the day, the Trump tariffs are going to hurt Americans. And so that's our message, and that's our approach. And meanwhile, I think that on many different issues, what Secretary Rubio and I have been able to agree on was we won't let things that we don't agree on stop us to agree on other things. Issues that were discussed, and one that I would like to highlight in particular, I can say that through our long conversations, we were able to find strong G7 unity on a variety of issues that were discussed, and one that I would like to highlight in particular is the one linked to Ukraine. All G7 foreign ministers agree with the U.S. proposal of a ceasefire that is supported by Ukrainians, and we are now studying and looking at the Russian reaction. So ultimately, the ball is now in Russia's court when it comes to Ukraine. For them at the pump, at the grocery store, when they want to build a new home. So there are no winners in trade wars. And not only are we seeing now that the Trump administration is engaging in a trade war against Canada, but it is doing so also against Europeans. And it is doing so against many other trading partners. So what we know as of now is that April 2nd is an important date, because under the executive order that President Trump signed on January 20th, there was a question of reciprocal tariffs that could start April 2nd. And so it's not only Canada watching and engaging on this issue, but many other of my colleagues here are also working on this issue. So I've been also working with Europeans to exchange information, as also the European Union imposed counter tariffs against American products in Europe following the tariffs on steel and aluminum. Canada wants to foster new partnerships in the world. We want to be closer to Europe. We want to be closer to Britain, to the UK, as we've been having, of course, the just our historic ties and the same head of state. But ultimately, we know that when it comes to the threats of coming out of the White House regarding tariffs, that we need to diversify our economy. Of a ceasefire that is supported by Ukrainians, and we are now... of course, new Prime Minister, a new dynamic, and I look forward to being able to support Prime Minister Carney and his work on Canada-US. What I can say is I've already mentioned to Secretary Rubio that it was important to be able to organize a call between the President and the Prime Minister, and I know that we're working to do that in the next couple of days.
Bonjour, Madame Joly. Oui, je pense que ça.
The reaction of my colleagues coming from Europe was really about this absurd threat of annexation. Was really is that a joke? You know, is that my team is telling me that I should not comment on that because it's a joke. And I was saying, no, it's not a joke. It's not. This is a very serious threat. And you don't mess up with a country's sovereignty. We know that. We've seen that elsewhere in the world. Well, you just don't mess up with our sovereignty. And so you should ask that question to all of them today. We'll see how they answer. I'm quite positive that it will be in the interest of Canadians. Thank you. Merci.